After 20 years in corporate America, I've seen a lot of friction points. I'm here to provide the resources to help leaders navigate through it.
What happens when leaders demand more, but they have less?
Corporate America, we know the trend. We need you to do more with less. So what happens? They cut your headcount by 20%, they raise your targets by 15%, and you are thinking, there's no way I could possibly do this. But instead of speaking up, what do? You smile, you nod your head with that biting of your teeth, and you tell the team, we just gotta work harder. You gotta be able to pace yourself, and we're gonna talk about how. Welcome to the lab. Today, we're dissecting the efficiency illusion. I'll tell you, the math has to add up. This is pure delusion if you think that you can do more with less. We absorb the board of directors' fantasies, we take it and we just eat it. And we force it onto our people. But we always have to realize that humans aren't infinite. We don't have unlimited resources. So when you try to do everything with a fractured team, you get everything done, you just get it done poorly. And what the true cost is that you aren't being efficient. You're just accumulating cultural debt and burnout, which we know leads to failure.
How do you end up being able to apply love and grace framework in these type of situations when you're getting squeezed by microeconomics, the pressures that you really can't control?
Grace is just accepting you can't control the firm's macroeconomic pressures. These are things that outside influences ultimately impact. There's that old saying, you gotta control what you can control. But there are things that you can do, and that's where love steps in. Love is protecting your team from the delusion. So not just taking it on the chin and cracking the whip, trying to do more with less, because you're burning the candle at both ends. Eventually, you're gonna end up with no wick. Here's the hard part. Refusing to let your people burn out because you were too scared to manage up is a reality. But I don't wanna just leave you with what the problem is. I wanna help provide you with a solution.
You speak on love. Isn't that kind of dangerous within the corporate world and the workspace?
It's not. We're not talking about love in a romantic way here. We're talking about the caring for your people, for your organization, and for your success. And you can't do that without love, without passion. You think about all the great athletes, the Kobe Bryants, the Michael Jordans, all of them had a love for the game. And it's not a weird romantic love. It's a passion, it's a desire to want to see the best and do the best with what you have.
Okay. Everyone says that we need to prioritize those, and you speak on compassion as well, but how do you actually have those conversations with your boss without sounding like you're complaining or just whining?
You have to force the prioritization conversation, but whining, it's not a strategy. So you have to bring a business case, not a grievance. If you walk into your boss's office talking about how you're overwhelmed, you're burnt out, your team can't do it, you've lost the battle already. Your mindset has to be that you aren't asking for a break, but you're protecting the company's key objectives by asking a reprioritization of the task.
How do you do that? What type of steps can you walk us through? How do we align that and prove that these tasks are actually the right move?
This is the scary part. A lot of people talking about managing up, but nobody really shares how do you actually do it effectively. And that's why I said in the beginning, I'm here to provide those resources and not just talk about a problem, but provide a solution. The first step to being able to manage up is you have to start with alignment. Your boss needs to understand that you and your vision aligns with theirs. And that sounds something like this. So to hit our number one expectation with absolute excellence, we need to do X, Y, Z. So what that does is it shows your boss that you are seeing the business, you are seeing the vision as they see it. But just sharing that is not enough. Here's where you need to validate what you're saying, and how you do that is by presenting data. Data is going to be the foundation which your argument stands on. And that sounds something like this. We need to reallocate 15% of our capacity that's currently draining into this legacy task. So whatever that is, you need to show where extra energy is being expended that's maybe not a high priority, so that you can show them that we need to reallocate it here, where is our number one goal that we're trying to accomplish. And then the last part is storytelling. And we talk about that. You got to be able to share it in a way that leads people to action. So you have to show the value of sunsetting whatever it is you're saying. And you frame it as subtraction as an efficiency multiplier. So it sounds something like this. If we sunset task C, I can guarantee the success of priorities A and B by blah, 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 blah. What this does, it makes that leader choose the victory. It almost makes it a non-negotiable. They're like, oh yeah, we've got to sunset that because this is our number one goal and you showed me the path to get there.
And why is forcing that conversation, as you said, a non-negotiable part of leadership?
You just can't squeeze your people indefinitely. Eventually, there's going to be a breaking point. And if you do, you can't expect high performance because it's not sustainable. I've been training for a marathon. And what you'll learn in marathon training is that you can't come out sprinting because this is going to be a long race. So if you sprint and burn all your energy early, you're going to crash halfway through the race. And it's the same thing when it comes to meeting our goals. We have to be able to pace ourselves and be able to understand that this is a marathon, not a sprint. So ignoring the math, it breaks the culture. When you refuse to drop some priorities to align and better hit what you're doing, you aren't leading. So doing more with less just means you're doing everything worse.
And what would you say the final word on this message and the information that you had to share today would be?
Yeah, you can't sprint a marathon. So stop pretending that you can do it all, you can do more with less without making any changes, and start negotiating what you need to drop and what you need to prioritize. That's our time for today. Thank you for stepping into the lab. If you have questions or even comments, we'd love for you to share it in the chat. And as always, let's get to work.